This is the Southside School of Financial Freedom Market Report and Small Account Update for the week ending June 22nd, 2024. The market finished higher this week. The Dow Jones Industrial Average increased 0.04% on Friday and was up 1.45% for the week. The S&P 500 decreased minus 0.16% on Friday, but was up 0.61% for the week. The Nasdaq decreased minus 0.18% on Friday, but was even for the week. Looking at the week, we can see that there were 8 up finishes versus 4 down finishes for the major indexes. On Monday and Tuesday, all the major indexes finished up. On Wednesday, the market was closed. On Thursday and Friday, the Dow Jones Industrial Average finished up, while the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq finished down. How did you do? My small account finished minus 4.63% lower, but generated cash flow of 2.35%. Even when the market falls and or my account doesn't do well, I still get income or cash flow by selling covered calls and naked puts. This method does not only guarantee cash flow or income, it can also beat the S&P 500. I use a watch list to determine which options of stocks that I want to sell. A stock has to meet 5 criteria to be on my trading watch list. I will not reveal what my criteria are, but if you examine my list, you may be able to figure out the criteria for yourself. The last row is my benchmark row. That is, I measure my performance against gold, silver, and the S&P 500. Looking at my watch list from the week, the strongest performer on the list was Rocket Lab USA Incorporated, ticker symbol RKLB in the first column. It was up 4.38% on Friday and increased 14.12% for the week. Rocket Lab USA Incorporated is an open-end space company that designs, manufactures small and medium-class rockets, spacecraft and spacecraft components, and related software and services to support the space economy. The company strives to deliver reliable launch services, spacecraft design services, spacecraft components, spacecraft manufacturing, and other spacecraft and on-orbit management solutions that make it easier to access space. Looking at a summary of results, you can see that Rocket Lab has decreased minus 9.4% year to date. I generated cash flow from Rocket Lab this week. I generated cash flow from selling 7 different option contracts, 4 calls, and 3 puts that range from $6.34 to $26.34. So on Monday, I sold a put for $22.34. On Tuesday, I sold a put for $26.34. And then on Friday, I sold 4 calls. One for $12.34, one for $8.34, and 2 for $6.34 each. And I sold a put for $14.34. I also received interest of 54 cents. That is a total of $96.92, which is not a lot of money, but the account is small. $96.92 in cash flow was 2.35% of my account value. With this system, this money is free and clear. You can take it out of your account and spend it or leave it in to build your cash balance and or invest it. If you want to increase the amount of cash flow, just use a larger account. So to 10x the cash flow to $969.20, use a larger account, and instead of selling one of everything that I sold, sell 10. This strategy is guaranteed to produce cash flow immediately and every week that it is applied. However, it does not guarantee the amount of cash flow from week to week, nor the value of your account. The amount varies and the account value varies. Despite the variations in amount and value, the goal is to generate cash flow and beat the S&P 500. Note Most professional money managers and their strategies do not consistently beat the S&P 500 every year. They usually lose, and they lose by a lot. Last year, this method beat the S&P 500 by about 12%. But in 2024, my account is down minus 17.47% versus 14.56% up for SPY, which is an S&P 500 ETF. That's a difference of 32.03%. So I am losing to the S&P 500 by over 32%. It is not unusual to beat the S&P 500 one year and then lose to the index the next year. Will I befall the same fate as most professional money managers? It does look like it because I am still trailing the S&P 500 by a lot. I am confident, however, that I will gain on the S&P 500 and beat it by year's end. Tune in next week to find out what happens. Bitcoin Watch. Bitcoin lost minus 3% this past week, but it is still in a bull market as it is trading near all-time highs. It is up just over 53% year to date. Some people believe that Bitcoin is the most transformative financial asset in 1,000 years. I think the best course of action is to dollar cost average, that is DCA, into Bitcoin and DCA into the S&P 500 at a 30 to 70 ratio in favor of Bitcoin for the next 10 years and up to when you have invested at least $10,000. In fact, I have implemented a similar strategy where I have a portfolio that is almost 92% in a Bitcoin ETF. It is up 1%. What do you think? What is your strategy? Do you know how to produce cash flow every year, every week, and beat the S&P 500 in a year? Do you invest in Bitcoin, which may prove to be the smartest investment of the decade? As you develop, analyze, and implement your strategy, please check back to see how my small account and my Bitcoin dominant account performs against the S&P 500 from week to week by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Thank you.